right, everyone, it's Thursday. We're closer to Friday than we have been at any other time this week. So let's be kind to each other. Let's be patient and confer.
All right.
So is there anything that you needed?
Judge, yes, for this, I'm not sure you have a file from you.
Yes,
We
I have
just wanted clarification for pretrial services purposes. If you recall, I think you might have recalled that he had violated conditions of pretrial.
Yes.
By not being where he needed to be at work. He was, doing things with his children and for the aquarium and things like that.
Yes.
So the court, he was taken into custody, given high bond, bonded out, and was given conditions of 90 days of full GPS. So for the last 90 days, it started March 1st. That was the date of the order.
Mhm.
So since then, he's been not working because he drives. And so we wanted to confirm with the court that he can go back to partial GPS so that he can continue working. Since I specified the 90 days for GPS.
Do you have any problem with him being allowed to work?
Your Honor, we'd be asking for the defendant to be kept on full house arrest given his prior violations. I believe at the last hearing, Ms. Mitchell presented evidence that he had been out at Peter Piper Pizza and had been out at various locations while he was supposed to be on full house arrest. I believe it was an admonishment by the court that he's not to leave the home unless for court purposes. So we'd ask that the full house arrest condition remain intact.
All right. We're going to go on the record. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a motion?
Judge.
Defense, are you going to object to our oral motion?
We want to object to an oral motion.
Yeah, and I was going off of the court's order.
Okay. All right. Court is calling 2022 CR 1442 State of Texas versus Brandon Sierra. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ruben Barrera for the state.
Defense.
Sylvia Colossus for the defendant.
And are you Mr. Sierra?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So his jury trial is scheduled for June 12th. The court is aware of this case, and the court is aware of the violations of conditions that the court set for the defendant with regards to employment. And the defendant was doing other things other than employment. Defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, we're asking for the court to follow their order on March the 1st and allow him to be back on partial GPS so that he can continue working to provide for his family. He has 2 children, they're very young children, and we do have a trial coming up soon next week, I believe. And so I believe also with everything he spent on the money that he spent on his bond, he's learned a big lesson, and I don't believe that he will be in violation any longer.
All right, and where does he work?
What is the name of your company?
AG Trucking. It's for dirt hauling.
It's for what?
Dirt hauling for someone's.
All right. State?
Your Honor, the state would oppose defense's oral motion based on the defendant's history of violating the court's orders to be after he was already allowed partial house arrest for work purposes. Given the multiple violations and given the court's admonishment on the I believe what was the last court date that the defendant to remain in the home on full house arrest, we'd ask that condition remain. Given the fact that the defendant has already shown the court that he will not follow the court's orders.
And Judge, if I may, from my recollection, the dates of the violations were in 22, not recent violations. I guess for those few times that he did do things outside of work, that did not continue. And so what happened is pretrial services had not filed on him. And so it was brought to their attention by the mother of the victim, but they weren't recent violations either.
All right. So what is his work hours?
Usually the area starts about 7
You want to
a.m.
raise your hand?
Oh, yes.
Do you solemnly swear affirm? Is that your left hand? All right. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Brandon Sierra.
All right. If the court is going to consider this, there needs to be standard hours, not this, they vary. So what are the days that you work?
Monday through Sunday. Well, So we do varies. It would be Tuesday through Friday.
And what are the hours?
Usually about 10-hour to 12-hour shifts is what they vary. So I usually leave my house by 7, and then 6:30 is usually the time I'll be back home.
All right. And do they tell you your location?
That I'll be driving to? Yes.
All right. Norma, can you have pretrial services zoom in on Brandon Sierra? Who's your pretrial services officer?
Chan. Bravo.
Yes. I'm looking in here and it's, just one second. It's Che Provo. All right. And can I see the parties again on Mr. Sierra? Ruben, I'm sorry about that. Officer Provo, could you please unmute or start your video?
Hello, can you see me now?
All right, thank
Can you hear
you.
me?
Yes, and if you could speak up because we're on the record and the court reporter needs to hear.
Okay.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, could you lower your hand? All right, could you state your name for the record?
Shay Rovo.
And to the court reporter, that's CHE. All right, so I'm here with Mr. Sierra. What I'm trying to discover, because there were some issues with Mr. Sierra following the court's GPS rules. Now he's on full GPS and he wants to work. He is telling me that his work will be taking, I guess, construction equipment, maybe dirt or that type of things to different locations. Is it possible for him to call and leave a message with you and let you know this is the location where I'm dropping off items? And then at the end of the day or either the next day, are you able to check to make sure that he's followed through on the locations that he said that he is going without making extra stops? Is that possible?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, because that's what I'm inclined to order for him. We had problems with GPS before where he was making unauthorized stops. But the only thing he's going to be allowed to do is go to work. So he's not going to be allowed to go to the grocery store because you have someone else in your household who can do that. You have someone in your household who can pick up lunch and pack a lunch for you, and you can take that for your break. You're not going to be allowed to do anything else. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you do anything else, what's going to end up happening is a warrant will most likely be issued for your arrest, and we will hear your jury trial on the 12th with you being brought over from the Bexar County Jail. Do you understand? So this is what the court is going to order. He says that his work is from Tuesdays through Saturdays. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he says it's from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're going to provide your work schedule to pretrial services. And you are going to call them and let them know every location where you are going to be dropping off construction supplies. You understand? If you deviate from that route, they are going to let me know, and a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest. If you go somewhere where you told them you're going to be and you're not, a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest. Do you understand? If you miss calling them and leaving a message with them, telling them these are the locations I'm going to be at, a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest. So, and I have family who work in construction, and I know when you go in the yard, they will tell you, we need this cement or this dirt dropped off at location A or B. When they give you that notice on the yard and say, You need to come here and pick up this dirt. Guess what? You need to call pretrial services and say, I'm on the yard at my job. I'm in this truck. They are requiring me to pick up the cement from point A. I'm going to go pick that up. This is the time I'm leaving. And then you're going to go pick up that cement and you're going to let them know where you're going to be dropping that cement off. And then once you drop it off and you're supposed to go back to the yard, once you drop that cement off, you need to call pretrial services and say, I'm returning to the yard. And you're going to give them those location addresses. And I know that when you work construction and you're the driver, they give you all of those locations of where you're supposed to be. Do you understand?
Yes.
If pretrial services doesn't answer the phone, you need to leave a message with them. Do you understand? Miss Provo, can he leave a message on the phone or email? What does he need to do? Oh, you're on
Yes,
mute.
we have been in contact via email, so he can do it that way or leave a voicemail.
All right, so you can leave an email or a voicemail, but it needs to be done. If you do not do it and you're in a location, even if it is a location, you know, where you're working and you haven't called them and let them know, we're going to have an issue. Do you understand? Is there any confusion on anything? All right, so does he need to come in and report to you or call you today to give you information? All right, thank you. Thank you so much for zooming in. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, and sorry for the chaos, but thank you for your time.
There is no chaos. You did very well. You're the next Spielberg.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a
thanks.
great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank
All right, you're allowed to work. And if you'll get a B page for me and write on that B page, the court will sign it.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
All right, could I have the parties on Annabelle Bishop? All right, the court is going to call 2023 CR 2077, State of Texas versus Annabelle Bishop. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ruben Barrera for the state.
Defense,
Thomas Siller for the defendant.
are you Annabelle Bishop?
Yes, ma'am.
You entered a plea on May 1st. According to the plea bargain agreement, and it's a continuous violence case, the state is silent on your application, but they're asking that punishment be assessed at 5 years in the prison. Have parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor. I just have one witness, Your Honor.
All right,
Ready for the state.
thank you. You may call your witness.
The mother.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so the court reporter can hear and I can hear. All right, can you state your name for the record?
Anna Bishop.
Defense?
Please state your name, the relationship to Ms.
I'm
Sure.
her mother.
At this point, you understand the charges against this court, pending in this court?
Yes, I
Do you know the dynamics of the ex-husband and his father?
Yes, I do.
And at this point, they are wanting her to go away for 5 years.
Of course they do.
It's this, can you please tell the court what are your wishes as to your daughter?
I don't think that should be. I don't think that she should go for 5 years.
Do you ask this court to grant her deferred adjudication?
I pleaded with this court to grant her.
At this point, the court prepared, or the court says there's no mental health issues. And what kind of needs do you think your daughter has if given probation today, substance abuse wise?
Yes, that she be placed in a program. And
Outpatient, that is?
outpatient, yes.
Is it, what kind of drugs is she using?
To my knowledge, and for CPS, it's free.
And other than that, what other, does she need any kind of additional mental health services? What
I
else does
believe
she?
that she might, yes.
I know that nothing was identified officially, but what makes you think that?
Nothing was identified because no one's taken the time to actually,
But what are your
counsel her.
concerns with her?
their.
All right, you all need to talk one at a time.
What are your concerns with your daughter?
My concerns are that she just needs the help that she needs. I mean, she doesn't need to go to prison. I think that she would be able to do this out.
Is it your first family, of course?
Yes, her first.
And
Yes.
who else lives in the household with you?
Just me.
You spend a lot of money and effort to get her on bond. How much money did you spend on that?
$2,500
Okay, and then she's back in jail. Why is that? Why is she back in jail?
because she missed her court date.
And other than that, she was always well behaved.
Yes,
And
and she
she-
only missed her court date because she had a scratch in her eye. She does have medical records for that.
Okay. And at this point, do you think she will be able to successfully comply with the education requirements, going to classes, making appointments, reporting, staying away from the next victim?
Yes.
Okay. And it says here that she has shown no remorse. She thinks just all fun and games what she did to the ex-father-in-law. What do you think? Do you think she's remorseful?
Yes, I do, and they should be remorseful for what they
I'm
did
saying
to her.
she took responsibility for what she's charged with. She's not saying she's innocent, but she's remorseful, you're saying?
Yes.
And she understands,
Remorse.
and she understands, and you understand, if the court was to give her on her first felony education, if she messes up, she'll get the full legal punishment and go to prison for much longer. She understands that, you understand that?
I understand.
Okay.
You wouldn't need to ask her.
But she has a high school diploma, she understands everything, she's competent, you believe?
Yes, sir.
And at this point, again, I was trying to clarify with you, does she need mental health evaluation, you think?
Yes,
If-
I do.
On what basis?
On the basis that I've been her mother for the last 25 years and I know my daughter. And she's changed a lot ever since she met her husband. And she's just mentally been abused by that family. That's what I'm basing it on.
What kind of service does she need? Counseling? Does she need evaluation? What does she need?
I would think that she would need counseling and psychiatric evaluation.
But all that can be done outpatient. You're asking for the court to kind of defer it, release her today.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. That's a witness. Thank you.
Any questions?
No question. No time.
All right, I have some questions. So you're her mother? How many children does she have?
She has two.
All right. Why was CPS involved?
Because her father-in-law called CPS.
Okay. And the grandchildren were placed with the father-in-law, correct?
They were placed with the father-in-law and the non-biological grandmother.
Okay. So that's where the children were placed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you aware of the facts of this case?
Not all the facts.
Are you aware that she gave him a black eye?
No.
Are you aware that she went over to the home? At the job site, it states, the victim said that his grandchildren were placed on a safety plan on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023 by Child Protective Services due to physical abuse allegations. Do you know what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what that means is that Child Protective Services didn't do a legal case, and her attorney will tell you this, they just did a safety plan. So the safety plan is designed to get the parents stabilized. So what they did was they placed the children with the father-in-law, and I'm sure they told her that these are the times that you can have your children as far as visitation. So what he says is around 9 a.m. today, the defendant, your daughter, came to his job site again, banging on the door. His coworker alerted him that she was here, and they called the police. The grandfather came through the gates and told her to leave. She began yelling, "Where are my effing kids?" He grabbed her phone and threw it so that she would leave the property. She then punched him in the face a couple of times and ran to get her phone. Shortly after, she returned on the property, threatening to damage the grandfather's truck and flatten his tires. She was looking for rocks, so he went to stop her. She came at him swinging with a closed fist. He grabbed her by the shirt and hip tossed her to the ground. He placed his hand on her back until she calmed down. That's what happened. And that was on the first occasion, because this is continuous. And it says that your daughter has a drug problem. Does your daughter have a drug problem?
Yes.
That's either yes or no. So what drugs are she using?
To my knowledge, marijuana.
So you think she's only using marijuana? And you think all of this, that Child Protective Services, which they don't even do anymore, I don't know why they don't do it, but Child Protective Services are not putting children in safety plans or removing them because parents are using marijuana. It has to be more than that. Do you understand?
They didn't tell me that.
Okay.
I asked them.
All right. So as a parent, sometimes we let our love of our children blind us or look at things through rose-colored glasses. In order to help children, you need to take the rose-colored glasses off and see your child for who they are. Now, you may not like what you're seeing with your child. You may not like the relationships they're choosing. You may not like the fact that they're doing drugs, but you have to acknowledge that and quit glossing over the fact that she doesn't have custody of her kids. And I hate kids because it's baby goats, but I'm saying kids with the cuts. That's what's in the police report. But she doesn't have custody of her children. And the reason why she doesn't have custody of her children is because there's allegations of physical abuse. Not physical abuse where her partner that she chose is hitting on her, but physical abuse to the children and drug use. That's why there was a safety plan, and that's why the children were placed with the grandfather. Now, why the children are not placed with you, I don't know. Maybe it's because you're not acknowledging the fact that your daughter has violence issues, that your daughter has drug issues. Maybe that's why the children didn't place them with, maybe that's why CPS didn't place the children with you. I don't know if you had a chance to put your name down for somebody to be interviewed.
I did. And
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but they came to my house, and because I was working, she said that I was too busy. And I've been trying to get a hold of them. I've been trying to be part of the safety plan, and they've been pushing me away.
Well, I mean, if they are pushing you away, I do, honestly, I understand why. Because you think that your daughter needs to be on outpatient treatment. You think your daughter needs to be released, and you're not looking at the fact that the children are in the care of this grandfather.
This grandfather.
Because of allegations of physical abuse and because she is living with somebody in a vehicle. Do you really think it's great for children to be living with parents living in a vehicle?
Your Honor, may I speak?
Yes, you may.
Okay, John Tovar and Jacob Tovar started Annabelle on drugs.
Mhm.
They gave her the drugs.
And how old was she when this started?
18,
All right. And how old was Tovar, her boyfriend?
19.
And where were you as a parent? Were you letting her be out and about? Was she still living with
She
you?
was married with her husband.
These are choices that people make. And what drugs were they using? Just marijuana?
My knowledge, like I said, I do.
All right. So you're saying he started her on marijuana. So according to you, the only drug that she's ever been using has been marijuana. Is that what you're telling the court?
To my knowledge of what I know, yes, and what she's told me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, with that, I have no further questions.
Any questions?
No questions, just argument.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in to give me an insight into your daughter. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Anyone else you want to call?
Just argument.
All right. The court will hear argument.
Respectfully, my client is remorseful. She does have a plate. She has a family support system. She's denying mental health, but the mother thinks she may need some kind of violation. And as to substance abuse, I understand we do have some recommendations, speak to UAs for the first 90 days, but because it's really her first felony conduct, we're asking the court to defer finding of guilt and give her a chance to either show the court she needs help, she will benefit from help, she will seek help, and the court has lots of help available to her. And if not, she will hang herself. Thank you.
All right, anything you wish to say to the court?
I do.
You want to raise your right hand?
Yes,
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Annabelle Bishop.
All right, what do you wish to say?
I am very remorseful for what happened that day. And I don't feel like I should be,
What happened that day?
well, you had just explained it, but that wasn't the whole story because he did put his hands on me as well, numerous times. That's why I pressed charges back on him.
Why were you at the location?
To retrieve my kids.
All right,
Because
and
the
did-
original agreement was my kids were supposed to spend the night with him and I was supposed to pick them up that morning.
No.
That's why I was there.
So you're saying there was not a CPS safety plan in
Oh, yes,
place?
there is. Mhm.
All right.
And the plan that me and Jacob had came up with was for his dad to be on the plan and my mom to be on the plan.
Please watch the site. I just want to just guide her.
No. I want to listen to what she's saying because she's changing her story to me.
Well, may I have a
Mm-mm.
minute?
No,
Thank you.
she's on the witness stand. So go for it.
But anyways, I'm very remorseful for what happened that day.
No. Let's go back to the safety plan business.
Yes,
So you're saying there was an agreement with the safety plan for what?
just for my mom and his dad to be on the safety plan. That's it. That's all I was gonna say.
No, your mom just testified. You heard her testify that says she was not considered for the safety plan. So she was not on a safety plan. So your mom wasn't on there. So the only person who was on the safety plan was him. So why did you think that you were to go and pick up the children?
My kids,
Yes.
because I missed my kids and I just wanted to see my kids. That's the only reason. I love my children.
Did you realize that was a violation of the safety plan?
No, I didn't realize that.
All right, you want some questions?
Oh, you want to just vaguely,
Sure.
you're not minimizing your involvement, no, you're still taking full responsibility.
Yes.
You're asking the court to not send you to TDC today. You want help for substance abuse and maybe mental health if identified.
Correct.
And you understand deferred if you mess up and get full range of punishment.
Yes, I understand.
And this could be more than 5 years.
Yeah.
And you want to stay away from the complaining witness,
Yes.
from the families, and you're going to comply with all safety plan, court rules, anything.
Whatever it takes.
And your mother, who else lives in the household?
Just me and my mom. That's it.
And she asked you to spend a lot of money to bond you out,
Yeah.
and you missed court again. Why? Because you were,
I had a corneal abrasion in my eye.
okay, and you provide documentation of that to the
Yes.
court. Technique.
Mhm.
What drugs were you taking?
I've only ever done marijuana. That's it.
Okay. All right, is there anything else?
Oh, you guys.
All right, court is going to find you guilty. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Jacob Tovar and Juan Tovar. I see that there is a request for restitution, but in the PS report, the court does not have a restitution amount, so the court is not going to order restitution. It's not in the PSI report.
Please don't do this. Why are you doing this?
All right. Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your, did you understand? Did you sign it?
I thought it was completion, so I don't know.
All right, because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed the plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to your attorney. And the state has tendered a dismissal for the assault on a public servant. So that case is dismissed. All right, good luck to you.
Your Honor, one thing further, we do have victim impact.
I don't think you want to hear victim impact statement today.
Oh, he's not gonna,
Thank you.
he said he's not gonna show.
All right, thank you.